there everybody, welcome to Tina's Yoga Room. I've got a really great class planned for you today. We're going to work towards splits pose, hanumanasana. Now with splits pose, I think a lot of people realize you need length behind the backs of the legs, the hamstring, but you also need a ton of length at the top of the hip, your hip flexor and your quadricep. So we're going to build a class opening up both the tops and the backs of the legs for splits pose. If you've got props, you can definitely use them today. A towel or a strap, because we are going to work on extending the leg out in front of you. And if you have blocks to bring the floor closer to you, a couple of big cans of tomatoes, something like that, that would work as well. If you have no props, you can still do this class just as well. Let's get on the mat. So we're going to use this time to establish the breath. Press the feet in against each other or on the floor if you're having knees tented into center. Arms can go wide if you'd like more space in the front of the body. You could also have hand on the heart, hand on the belly for more grounded energy. Now, without shifting much in the body, take some of your deepest breaths of the day. You might sigh out some of your exhales as a way to get more relaxed and grounded. And then just be still for a moment, tuning out of your day, drawing the energy inward. Noticing the little nuances of the body. What are you feeling in your muscles? What does your body feel like in this pose? Take a few more deep rounds of breath. And then gather your knees in at center, wrap the arms around the legs, take a rock, not just side to side, but maybe even some circular motions, one direction and the other, getting into the very low back, tailbone, sacrum area. From here, we're going to rock up to boat pose, up to your navasana. So you can hold behind your thighs, and start to find some momentum rocking forward and backward. Start to feel that brief moment where you're sitting on the hips and nothing else is touching the mat. And on your next round, try to pause and hold that boat pose. You can stay with the arms underneath your legs, or you can extend the arms forward. Maybe even work on straightening through the legs, but keep the heart lifted for another 3 rounds of breath. Then tap the toes down, wrap around to release your core. Then sit up tall and take it right back down to your mat. Squeeze the knees in. And then plant the feet on the wide edges of the mat. The arms can go wide. Let the knees fall over towards the right. Take a breath out. Inhale the knees back to center. And then exhale the knees left. And inhale center. One more each side. Exhale right. Inhale. Exhale left. And inhale. Exhale right and take a little pause here. You may gaze over your left shoulder. Starting to feel the opening on the top of your left hip, maybe even into the thigh or the side of the hip. Plant the feet back at center, gaze forward, and now the right leg is going to lift into the air.
Scoop behind that thigh, find straight arms. So you're pressing that leg into the basket of your hands. Circle out your ankles, spread the toes. And then pause. Straighten that left leg to just a hover off of the mat. So it's like an inch or two off of the mat. And release your arms to float forward. So you have a split leg shape here. We're going to try to keep this shape as we once again rock up to a boat pose. So you can start to find a little bit of momentum, what that feels like on the hips, on the core. And one last round, try to stick this time a split boat pose for 3, 2, and 1. Then cross right ankle over left, give a squeeze in. You can tuck chin to chest. Sit up tall, and once again, take it all the way down to your mat. Feet to the wide edges of the mat, arms go wide, and let's take that to the other side. So let's start by letting the knees fall over to the left on an exhale. Inhale back to center. Exhale, knees right, and inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale. Exhale right, and inhale. Exhale, knees can hold over towards the left, and this time gaze can fall right for an early spinal twist and some opening along front and side of right hip. Then return the feet to the mat, gaze towards the ceiling, and lift your left leg into the air. Basket behind that leg and find straight arms. So you're not just hugging the leg in, but you're also pressing the leg out. Circle around the ankle, the toes. And then pause. Right leg will lift to a hover. The arms extend forward. And let's try that split-legged boat pose again. So you might take some little rocks to see what it feels like. And then try to take that final rock to stick a split-leg boat pose for 3, 2, and 1. Tuck in, roll down, release. Now let's take it forward instead of back onto your back. Find tabletop hands and knees. Let's release the spine. Let's release the core with some cat-cows. Lower belly, lift gaze and tailbone, inhale. And then exhale, tuck and round, tailbone under. Few more, finding your breath. Make your way back to center tabletop. Flip the toes under, let your hips rise, and come to your first downward facing dog. Bend deeply into each of the knees. See if the stomach can approach your thighs. The heels are lifted. And then exhale, try to straighten right leg and allow that heel to drop down towards the mat. Inhale, you'll bend both knees deeply again. And exhale, drop just that left heel down. Take a few more rounds of that. So not just that rote pedaling movement, but consciously moving through each of these bends with your breath. And after you finished that final round, you can have a pause at center downward facing dog. Then let's lift both of your heels, bend the knees, look forward, pounce pose, take a hop or a step, feet to the top of the mat, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale takes you up to standing. Allow the arms to draw a big circle up overhead, and exhale, hands heart center.
Let's take it right back up. Inhale, sweep arms overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale to step back, high plank pose. And then exhale, let's take your first low plank. Upward facing dog, breath in. And downward facing dog, breath out. Inhale, lift heels. Exhale, bend knees, look forward. Hop or step, inhale. And forward fold, exhale. Sweep back up, inhale. And hands heart center, exhale. Chair pose, softening through the knees and extending the arms to frame the head. Your core is nice and strong and engaged here, belly button towards your spine. Soften the shoulders away from the ears and lighten up on your toes. Your next exhale, take it a little lower, so half chair pose, challenging those arms to stay out of your line of vision. Toes are still light, hips are sinking. And then fold on your next exhale. Inhale, take step back, plank pose, and exhale, low plank. Upward face, breath in, and downward dog, breath out. Let's lower your knees down to the mat, revisit your tabletop once again, and from here, extending your left leg in the air behind you. You can peek underneath to see that even the pinky toe is facing down to try to keep the hips nice and neutral. You can stay here or full extension, right arm reaches out in front of you, and then basket that right hand behind your head so that the elbow's pressing wide. Try to lift that right elbow a little higher as well as your heel. And then exhale, take a crunch underneath, elbow towards that knee. Inhale, kick back, lift up. And exhale, crunch under. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, extend, right arm out. And then drop the hand and the left toes at the back of your mat. Now we're going to lift your right shin off of the mat and kick your right leg in the air, 3-legged dog. I usually need to hop my left foot a little closer to find a good distance between hands and feet. Then you can stack right hip on top of left, bend into that knee, and take a moment to kind of twist yourself underneath your right arm. You can circle out the knee, wiggle the toes and the ankle. Look down, straighten right leg, look forward and step, right foot top of mat. Take a moment to set the base up, right knee over ankle, wiggle left toes back, and the inhale takes you up to your high lunge. Pause for a moment, drawing shoulders down the back, hands to heart center. Bend into your left knee, not so much that it touches down to the mat, but just a soft bend. Feel a nice stretch along the top of that left leg. And then with your next inhale, straighten both of the legs and sweep the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to heart center. Inhale, extend up. And exhale to bend. Inhale, reach. And exhale, bend. Inhale, return to straight legs, and then hands can rest at hips. Bend into just that right knee and come to your warrior 2. So you're dropping that left heel down, arms will re-extend out, front heel intersecting back foot. Basket the hands behind your head and press the elbows back. Straighten your front leg, breath in. Exhale, reverse your triangle. So you're lifting that right elbow up towards the ceiling, allowing the left one to drop down, both elbows pressing back.
come back to center. Hands stay behind the head. Rebend into that front knee and a variation on side angle. So now we're going to lean out. Right elbow getting closer to that right knee. Left elbow lifting, but both elbows pressing back. Inhale back up. Extend the arms wide and take a windmill back down to the mat. Pick up right foot, step it back. Inhale, exhale, low plank. Upward face, inhale, and downward dog, exhale. If your heels are already touching down to the mat, you can kind of stay put. Otherwise, you can take a tiny half step forward and then draw the heels towards center, towards each other. So it looks like a V shape with both of the feet. And then lift your left leg in the air. Reset those toes to face down so you get a big stretch along the outside of right leg. Take a breath to bend into that left knee. Press that foot higher. See if you can get more stretch along right leg. Look forward and now step. Left foot just inside your left thumb. Let's reset that back foot to that half V shape and then take the arms up to your warrior one. Warrior one, this right hip wants to open up, but press it forward. Draw that left hip back. Hands to heart center. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, high twist over towards the left. Even more opening for that right hip, right thigh. Back to center, warrior one. Now let's open to warrior two to get the hips nice and squared now towards the long edge of your mat. And then coming into triangle pose. So flip the thumbs up, straighten your front leg, and you might heel toe that back foot a little closer. Lean out, find all of your length, and then windmill the arms up and down. Furthermore work into the side body. That right arm can reach forward past the right ear. And if you'd like more core engagement, that left arm floats as well and you're framing the head. Come all the way back up on the inhale, hands to the hips. Shortening the distance between the feet again, so heel toe that back foot in, but now step the right toes to face the top right corner of your mat. So hips are now facing forward. Parsvottanasana, arms wide on the inhale. Take the elbows behind you, exhale. Lift the chest, inhale. Take a lean out and then over that left leg, exhale. You might drop your right shoulder towards center a little more just to make sure you're folding directly over left leg. The inhale takes you back up. The arms can spread wide and hands connect at center. Take a step forward. Coming into your hand to big toe pose. So if you're using a towel or a strap, it's going to go underneath your right foot. So left hand can stay at that hip. You can bend this right knee. You can also just take a hold of that right shin if the big toe is not accessible for you. Now, wherever you're working, you want to draw that right shoulder back in place. Getting into the hip B variation is allowing that leg to sweep open towards the right, and more challenge is the gaze to the left. Now we can all sweep that right leg forward. Keep it lifted, 2 hands to the hip. So lose whatever prop you are using. And then let's sweep that leg behind you to warrior 3. Hands can find heart center or extend out in front of you. Return to stand, right foot meets left foot. You can pedal out that left foot and then set at the top of the mat. Inhale breath, reaches the arms up, and the exhale to forward fold. Take your step back on the inhale, and exhale, low plank. Upward facing dog, inhale, and a big exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take that right leg in the air again, 3-legged dog, but step it forward to the top of the mat for your low lunge. So the left knee is going to drop down and those back toes can untuck. So you want right knee stacked over that right ankle, and we can walk arm over arm onto that top thigh. Peeling the heart away from your thigh, but keeping the lunge deep. We're going to work towards a double bind of that back foot. Now this is a progressive pose, so take it just as far as it works in your body, where you can still comfortably breathe. We can start by dropping the left hand back down to the mat. Right hand to right thigh, find your twist, reach that right arm back, and the first bind could be lifting that back foot up and taking a hold of the inner part of the ankle. That would be step 1. Step 2 could be balance, lifting that left arm up. Step 3, looking forward, drawing this right shoulder forward. And the last piece, left arm could wrap around and find the outer edge of that ankle. If you have this full double bind, you are lifting the heart a little higher. A nice stretch for the front of that left thigh. Come out of it the way you came into it. We'll return to 2 hands framing that front foot. And then let's release that lunge by straightening through your front knee, letting the toes float up towards the ceiling. Now here's where if you had blocks or something on either side, you could grow a little taller here. If not, you can definitely stay lower. Your knee might not be all the way straight, that's fine. If you've got a straight right leg, right hand could find those toes drawing back. Full balance would be left hand on top. Release the hands down. Draw the right heel back so you can re-bend into that knee and bring the hands inside your right foot. Tuck the back toes under to lift off of that back knee, and right foot takes a step back, high plank pose. Exhale to find your low plank. Push up on the inhale and downward dog on the exhale. Let's lower down, tabletop, hands and knees. Coming into those crunches on the other side. Let's start with the right leg in the air behind you. And you can peek underneath to draw even the pinky toe down so that right hip is in line with your left. Extension by reaching that left arm out, but then bend the elbow when the hand is behind the head. Press the head into the hand, lift that elbow, lift your heel, and exhale, take your crunch underneath. Nice and controlled movement. Inhale, extend, and exhale to flex. Inhale, and exhale. Last one, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, re-extend, arm out, then drop the hand and the foot back down to the mat. We're going to hug your left shin up and kick left leg in the air, 3-legged dog. Step that right foot forward if you need that distance, and then bend into left knee. Try to lift the left knee higher as you stack the hips, and really twist underneath your left arm. Move around in the joints if you found that nice on the first side. And then straighten leg, look forward and step. Left foot to the top of the mat. Setting up for your high lunge so the back heel stays lifted. Walk up or sweep up, arms framing the ears. Soften the hands to heart center and a little bend into that back knee. See if you can get a stretch along the front of that hip and the quad. And then we'll move. Inhale, 2 straight legs, arms up. And exhale, slowly lower back down. Inhale to reach. And exhale to bend. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, rise and pause. Hands can find the hips, rebend into your front knee. Drop the back heel down and pivot the hips to face the long edge of the mat, coming into your warrior 2. Straighten your front leg. Now let's basket the hands behind your head, press the elbows back. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, reverse your triangle. So right elbow down, left elbow up, but press the arms back. Inhale, center, keep the hands, bend into that front knee, and now your variation on side angle. So you take a lean out, the left elbow comes close to that left leg, and the right elbow, really open it up. Get open through that chest, the pec, the shoulder. Back up, arms wide, and let's take it all the way down. Hands to the mat. Left foot picks up to step back, high plank pose. Exhale, low plank. Upward face, pull your heart forward, and downward facing dog. Exhale. Take a couple of deep, slow breaths here. Then let's shorten the stance up a bit to come into that warrior 1 shape. So think Mary Poppins feet where the heels are coming together, the toes are out, and then right leg rises. Angle those right toes down. Try to straighten through both legs so you get a big stretch along left leg. Bend into the right knee, press that heel higher. Look forward and let's step. Right foot, top of the mat, keeping that left heel in your half V shape. Let's take it up to Virabhadrasana A, Warrior 1. Hands to center. Again, adjust the hips. So you can bring hands to hips and consciously pull that right one back as the left one comes forward. And then let's bring arms up and rest them at heart center. Stand tall, inhale, and a high twist to the right, exhale. Inhale, center. Let's find warrior 2 to get the right distance and the shape between the hips and the legs. Then you can straighten that front leg, spin the thumbs to face up, and heel toe that back foot in a step. Triangle pose. Reach that right arm out as far as it'll go, and then right arm down, left arm up. Left arm can now reach forward, framing that ear. And you can unload that bottom arm if you did that on the first side as well. Inhale, back up. That's a good one. Hands to the hips. Heel toe that back foot a little closer in, and then those left toes are going to face the top corner of your mat. Feet are in opposite lanes of traffic for your Parsvottanasana. Arms go wide, inhale. Exhale, take the elbows at your back. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, take your fold over your right leg. So you might just check in that the left elbow slightly dips towards center so that your center rib cage is folded over the middle of your right leg. Use the inhale to press up to stand. The arms can go wide, and then take a step forward, top of your mat. If you use some sort of prop, strap, towel for your big toe bind on the first side, take that again. At the top of the mat, right hand stays at your hip. If you're not using a prop and you can't take a hold of that big toe, you can also just hold onto your left shin. Working on extending through your left leg, but pulling left shoulder back in its place. Version B, let's let that left leg sweep off the side of the mat, getting into the hip, and balancing, gazing forward, or challenging, balance, gazing right. Sweep everything forward again. Keep that leg lifted, straighten it out, hands to the hips. Let's come to your warrior three. Sweep that leg behind you. Hands can find heart center, reach forward, or airplane wings. Return to stand, left foot meets right, hands to center. You can pedal that right foot out. And then reset yourself at the top of the mat. Let's take a vinyasa. Inhale, sweeps up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, stepping back, high plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Left leg sweeps, three-legged dog. And then step that foot forward to your low lunge, Anjaneyasana. The right knee can tap down to the mat and the back toes untuck. So you can really take a moment to allow the hips to sink forward. If you used a prop, you can take that again. And then we'll walk the elbows or the arms up to the left thigh. Take a few breaths here. Finding some length in the spine, some length in the front of your right hip. Working towards that double bind. First step would be right hand down and the left arm reaching up and back. It could take a hold of the outside, of the inside of that ankle rather. Next piece, balancing. Right arm lifted up. Work that left shoulder forward as well as the gaze. And the last piece could be that right hand around as well. So you're getting tons of space in the front body, your chest, your shoulders, and a lot of stretch for the right thigh. Release the way you came in, one at a time. Hands can come inside that left foot. And then straighten that front leg. Walk the hands back on either side of that left foot. Left toes lift up towards the ceiling. If you used props to lift yourself up, feel free to do so again. Chest is reaching forward. If you took this into balance, left hand can go to toes first. Right hand may then follow. If you've got this balance,
lift your heart, chest forward, everyone breathing. Release one hand at a time, rebend into that front knee, hands inside that left foot. And then we'll step back, high plank pose. Tuck the back toes under, lift that knee, and plank. Exhale, low plank. Upward face, big breath in, and downward dog. Exhale. Feel free to kneel down for a moment. So I'm going to walk you through what could potentially be a way to enter into working splits pose. So the basic way to get in is going to step the right foot forward and return to your low lunge, and you can enter your split pose from there. Another way is we can come into side plank. One leg rises, you would take a hold of that big toe bind and try to sweep that right leg forward. That could be another way to enter your split. So, if you're going to come into split your traditional way by stepping that right foot forward and coming into your low lunge, feel free to do that now. I'm going to cue you into the side plank. So you can revisit plank, let the heels fall to the left, and your right arm extends into the air. You would lift that right foot up, bend the knee, try to take a hold of that big toe, extend your leg, and get ready for the sweep. Right heel to the top of the mat, and we're all going to meet now by straightening through that front leg and lifting off of that back knee. So if you've got props, you can always grow yourself taller. That is going to help most bodies. And then the way to do it is just to scooch one foot forward, one foot back, one foot forward, and one foot back. So big stretch for both the tops and the backs of the legs. Find your split pose, hanumanasana. Now coming out is always the tricky part. You want to just kind of crawl one heel back, one knee forward. You'll end up in your low lunge where you're bending into that right knee and straightening that back one. Hands down, tuck the back toes under, lift that leg, take a step back plank, and lower all the way down to your stomachs. Once you're there, take a moment to basket underneath the forehead and just rest your forehead down. Then let's prop ourselves up into Sphinx pose. So you're coming onto your forearms, shoulders are directly over your elbows, and physically pull your mat towards you so your chest is reaching forward. Now take this right knee and you're going to bring it just off the side of the mat. So it's in this 90-degree angle, knee out from the hip and hip coming up from the ankle. You're intending that right hip down towards the mat. We'll take two spinal twists here. So the first one is going to be simply gazing over your left shoulder. And the next one, gaze forward. Walk the right hand out in front of you. Thread the left arm underneath, come down to the head, and then that right arm will open all the way up off the mat, coming into a spinal twist. way you came in. So you have to roll yourself back over. Return to your forearms. You can straighten the back leg back. Tuck the toes under. A quick forearm plank to help reset the core and the low back. And then child's pose. Knees down. Walk the hands back and sink the hips to the heels. Move from your child's pose to your downward facing dog. So you are going to enter your low lunge the same way you took it on the first side. Either lifting left leg in the air and stepping it forward, dropping your right knee down. Or for those of you coming in plank, let's glide out, high plank pose. Heels will drop to the right. Left arm lifts up. Left foot rises. Try to take a hold of that big toe bind. Re-extend that leg and sweep the heel to the top of your mat. So let's all meet with coming off of that back knee if you were in lunge and find 2 straight legs. Now, you can always work with that back knee down if it becomes too much. And then you wiggle around, left heel forward, right leg back, and you find your variation of splits pose, hanumanasana. All right, let's come out of it the way you came in. Really carefully draw that front heel back, bend into that knee. Let's come into your low lunge. Tuck the back toes under, lift that back knee, step back, high plank, and lower all the way to the mat. Take a moment with the hands underneath your forehead. You can rock the hips side to side. Take a few breaths. And then find Sphinx pose. Prop the arms up onto your forearms. Take a moment to pull the mat towards you. Reach your heart forward. It'll look kind of like you're scaling a wall. Let's bend into that left knee so it's just off the side of the mat. But stack your joints, so nice and even in the joints. Add a twist by simply gazing right. And then taking the deeper twist, gaze forward, walk the left arm out, thread the right one underneath, land the side of your head, and then allow that left arm to open all the way up to the floor behind you, spinal twist. Unravel yourself, come forward again, return to the forearms, straighten that left leg behind you, tuck the toes under, a very quick forearm plank, lifting your hips, resetting the low back, and then you can drop the knees down and find a child's pose. Different options for your child's pose. You can bend into the elbows, the palms touch, the fingers lift up and maybe down, and you can walk the elbows forward to get more length underneath the tricep. Re-extend the arms out in front of you. Make your way to a tabletop, hands and knees. And we'll take our very final vinyasa. So plant the hands forward, spread the fingers wide. Step each foot back, find final high plank pose. Big breath in here. Exhale, low plank. Final upward dog. Maybe take an added breath here, gazing over each shoulder. And then allow the hips to rise. Find your final downward facing dog. Let's look forward, lift the heels, come through to seated and all the way onto your backs where you can wrap the arms around the legs. Take a couple movements here on the low back. Draw circles with the knees, one direction and the other. I'd like to take this time now to say thank you so much for joining my virtual class today. You did an awesome job working towards splits pose. Now, as you may know, I am not currently teaching classes due to COVID. All of my studios are closed. So if you are able to, at the end of class, to donate to my Venmo or my PayPal, it is greatly appreciated. All of my videos will still remain available on my YouTube channel, where you can subscribe and get notifications when all of my videos are released. Thank you so much for joining class. Take a couple more rocks side to side and class in a happy baby pose. Allow the feet to face the ceiling. You can take a hold of the feet or behind the thighs and give a nice rock side to side one last time. And then find your final resting shape, your Shavasana. The legs can release long on the mat, the arms can go wide. Close the eyes, take a couple of deep breaths in here, and then allow yourself to rest in stillness. Taking one final deep breath in together. Sigh that air out. Namaste to each and every one of you. Enjoy your rest.